this is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and today we're going to look at two Samsung media players. These are Android media players. Think of them as Android smartphones minus the phone part. We have the Galaxy Player 3.6 and the Samsung Galaxy Player 4.2 here. What's the difference? We're going to find out. So these are the Samsung Galaxy Players, the latest models. We've already reviewed the 5-inch model, which was pretty much their most premium models, you might guess. The bigger they get, the nicer they seem to get with Samsung media players. And now we have the new 3.6 and 4.2 Samsung Galaxy Players, and those numbers indicate the screen size. You're looking at a 3.6-inch screen and a 4.2-inch screen on this one. Honestly, it's really not so much about the screen size. You can see these guys are really pretty close in size. It's really about the price difference. The 3.6 is $149, where the 4.2 is $199. So probably more people will be making the decision based on how much they want to spend rather than the screen size, given, again, their similar portability. These are Wi-Fi only devices. They are pretty much, like I said, like Android phones minus the phone part. They do everything an Android gingerbread phone does except for making calls over cellular networks, and they lack cellular data. So no contract, Wi-Fi only. These are the kind of things that are great for something to give to your kids if they're always hogging your smartphone and you want to be able to play games, access the web, do their social networking and that kind of thing. Or if you're one of those people who's still holding on to your feature phone and you don't want to pay a monthly data plan, which is kind of expensive, but you do want to have some of the handy stuff like the PIM applications, the ability to play games, again, web, email, all those things. These guys can do everything an Android smartphone can do in terms of applications. They both run Android OS 2.3 Gingerbread. That's right, I doubt they'll ever get upgraded to ICS. Samsung doesn't seem to have that in their roadmap for their kind of budget-oriented players. And they're available now in stores. You can see from looking at them that the hardware design is a little bit different. This guy looks like more like your traditional old-fashioned phone. We've got the 3 capacitive buttons down here. There is no hardware clicky button. And this is well masked so you can see it. And there is a speaker that fires out the back. For the 4.2, we go a little bit more upscale. We've got the design elements that remind me of the new Samsung Galaxy Tab 2, 7 Plus, and 10. We've got the stereo speakers here, one on each end, so they project out at you and they have good separation. Definitely a good idea. And we have this little hardware home button right here, which sets it apart from this guy. And there are capacitive buttons for back and for menu. You can't see them unless you actually touch them, which I always think is a little bit of a catch-22, because if you already knew where they were, right, you wouldn't need that backlighting, but you can see briefly as I touch them, comes on. There it is. If we look at the back, the 4.2 has the usual super duper glossy Samsung black piano finish, which means it will not look nice if you handle it for about 3 minutes or more. Shows fingerprints, shows grime. Yes, you can clean it up though, so that's not so bad. Not a bad looking device. And the 3.6 has a kind of plastic brushed, metallic gunmetal-y kind of finish. Not so shiny, doesn't get as gummy looking. Both of these have 2 megapixel cameras on the rear. This one in the corner placement, obviously, and your speaker grill is right here. And your headphone jack, the USB, micro USB port is right here. Top, nothing going on except for this is where you pull the back cover off, one of those thin plastic back covers that Samsung uses to access the battery, and the micro SD card slot. Both of these have micro SD card slots, up to 32 gig capacity they'll accept, and they have 8 gigs of built-in storage. On this side here, on the 3.6 inch, we have our power button and our volume, pretty much like you'd find on a Samsung phone. And if you want to rip the back cover off, it's as simple as just grabbing and yanking, pulling it off. 1500 milliamp battery. Both devices use the same battery. I know Samsung's website right now says 1200 milliamp, but the battery says right on 1500, and it's the same on both of those. And your micro SD card slot is this little notch right here, so yes, you do have to pull the battery out to access the card. Now we're looking at the 4.2 inch Galaxy Player, and you can see stereo speakers, as I mentioned, right here, your hardware home button. On the side, again, power and volume right there, as you'd expect with a Samsung device. On the bottom, once again, micro USB and your headphone jack. By the way, a set of earbuds does come in the box with music playback controls. Nothing on that side. Nothing much there. Now if we look at the back, you can see the camera is centered on this model, and the pry point for the door on the back is right here. Again, thin plastic cover, Same battery, 1500 milliamp. And here is your micro SD card slot here. Different style design. It's not just a slide in. It's got the actual metal over it over here. In terms of specifications, you're looking at pretty much the same thing here. Both have Wi-Fi 802.11 BGN, Bluetooth 3.0, a GPS, yes, it actually works. You're going to want a data connection or to preload maps. However, if you want to get turn-by-turn directions and map data downloading on the fly, again, you can use a SD card to put some map data on there, or use your mobile hotspot feature on your smartphone if you happen to have one, or MiFi, anything like that, to get data for these guys on the road. They both have 1 gigahertz single-core CPUs. We are not talking cutting-edge, super-fast products here. Samsung really wants you to buy one of their phones. 8 gigs of storage inside, 2 megapixel rear cameras, front video cameras of unspecified resolution. Looks like VGA to me, so you can use them for video chat. That's pretty cool. And the big difference is the screen resolution. The 4.2 has an 800 by 480 pixel display. That's kind of your standard mid-range resolution now for an Android smartphone. And the little guy here, the 3.6 inch, has a half VGA 320 by 480 display. Now that's pretty low resolution. That's like the first Android smartphones that came out ever, like the T-Mobile G1. And that in and of itself is not something that I would condemn. It's small, but it's readable. But the panel is nasty, folks. Don't buy the little one. Don't buy the 3.6. Buy the 4.2 or the 5.0 if you're interested in getting a media player from Samsung. The 3.6 has a TN display. That's a technology that's used on basic to mid-range notebook computers. And that means not very good viewing angles. And viewing angles are important for a mobile device. You're going to pick it up, you're going to move it around in your hand, and it's going to quickly start to, you can see, disappear, turn into a mirror, and that's about it. Also, it has a scintillating kind of halo effect to the text. Nothing looks particularly sharp on it. You can probably even see that on our camera. So it makes you feel like it's either going to make you go blind or that you've already gone blind if you use this for a while. So again, really, get the 4.2. That has a standard LED backlit display that's much sharper. It's not a fantastically gorgeous display, but it's pretty decent. It's nice to watch movies on. Text looks reasonably sharp and clear, that kind of thing. So as we take a look at the device itself, you can see, well, your usual Android interface with TouchWiz on top. We've got their clock here. Not as many widgets as you find on a smartphone. You've got 7 home screens here. You can set your wallpaper, and all of your applications are in your application drawer, just as you'd expect. So we've got the full suite of Google applications here. We have the PIM applications, calendar, email, contacts, YouTube player, Gmail, all that good stuff's on board here. And we've got a couple of Samsung added stuff. We've got their Samsung App Store. We've got Social Hub, which is a pretty nice little way of integrating your social networking together. We've got Keys Air for syncing over Wi-Fi. And they've bundled Quick Office. Now this is a version of Quick Office that can view documents, whether they're stored on the cloud, on your SD card, or on internal memory. This will not create new documents. You can, however, buy a version that will for about $15 or so. We've also got a voice recorder on here. We have DLNA All Share, that's Samsung's DLNA application. They're a nice little memo app. Cutesy little memo. You can choose your color, and you can use the on-screen keyboard or a Bluetooth keyboard if you want to with this to create notes. You can install Flash Player on this. It has the usual WebKit web browser. Given the 1 gigahertz single-core CPU, don't expect super-duper Flash performance. And it's not that the video won't stream smoothly, because generally it does as long as you have a pretty good internet connection and you're sticking with, say, 480p resolution. But the Flash Player controls themselves can become kind of bulky, and we'll give that a test. Here's our own website. And you can see what the keyboard looks like on here. And we're using the 4.2 to do this. And there it is, it's loaded our site. You won't get super fast rendering times like you're going to get on one of the new cutting-edge Android smartphones or tablets, obviously, but it's bearable enough. Scrolling is reasonably smooth. A little tiny bit of stuttering every now and then. Zooming has a little bit of delay, but hey, you're looking at a $199 device here with a single-core CPU. And now we'll test out Flash Video Playback with our Windows 8 walkthrough. This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and today we're going to look at... The speaker volume is pretty good. You can see we have about 80% right now. It's pretty loud for a personal player.
But I just want to show you how quickly it boots. This is the Samsung Series right here, which is pretty cool.
Now we've got it out to full screen mode, which took quite a bit of futzing. The controls are very bulky on this with the Adobe Flash Player, but hey, at least you can play Flash. And it's playing just fine. And of course, there's no shame in using the YouTube player that's on here. You get the mobile format much more responsive. And since these are media players, again, they both have the same software on them, so we're using the bigger screen to show you, the bigger, sharper screen. You've got Samsung's music player and video player. And the music player is fairly pleasant looking. We've got some genuine Samsung tunes loaded here. We've got album view, playlist, artist view. And it plays in the background. And then you have the single view. It was pretty pleasant. Now for the video player, it's actually fairly capable given the fact that it's not the most super duper powerful device. We've got our Serenity 720p high profile trailer, which should be reasonably challenging. It's a good match for the display's resolution. Plays just fine. And 1080p video, no go. It says unsupported file type, so you are limited to 720p video on this. But again, given the screen resolution, well, that's fine. No point to squeezing 1080p into this small, lower resolution display. Got a couple of games preloaded on here, bundled. Actually, once you tap on them, it's going to tell you have to download the rest of the executable. You know how that goes if you play games on Android. Bigger games, that is. Not simple games like card games, but something like Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. And now we're in the game. Accelerometer working just fine. The screen has pretty good color. Not the sharpest in the world, but certainly still pretty pleasing to look at. Nice for playing on games. And video. Alright. So, Need for Speed, working good. So that's the Samsung Galaxy Player 3.6 and the Samsung Galaxy Player 4.2. Again, get the 4.2. Like I said, if you're interested in one of these devices, much better display. You'll be happy that you did it for $50 more. Both available now at retailers. And for those of you, again, who are looking for something that does not have a contract, does not have a phone inside, but you want all the other goodies of an Android device in your pocket, well, that's who these are for. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.